Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening everyone and thanks for joining us. Well, first tonight to a concerning situation in Glenorchy where police were called to a school this afternoon in response to a report a student had been stabbed. Rebecca Gaetoneris is live with the details, and Beck, what do you know?
Kim, police say a 12-year-old is in custody after allegedly stabbing another student with a knife at Montrose Bay High School. Officers arrived at the school around 1 p.m. It's understood one of the students sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Parents and locals have taken to social media, with many voicing concerns that the school was not placed in lockdown. The school was contacted. Police say the knife has been seized and there is no...
Okay, just lost Rebecca there. So yes, police are saying there's no ongoing situation there. Well, the state government has defended claims it forked out a third payment towards 2 Spirit of Tasmania ferries. The Liberals already on rocky ground after threats were made by the Jackie Lambie network to pull budget support.
With the first of the new Spirit of Tasmania ships just months away, there's some rough sailing ahead, with allegations the government has misled the Parliament regarding the project's costs.
The government's got to come clean on this project. They've got to stop telling lies and start telling the truth.
In a Public Accounts Committee last week, TT Line Chair Mark Granger revealed they'd paid an extra $13 million to shipbuilder RMC in April 2022. That's despite Deputy Premier Michael Ferguson telling Parliament later that year the price wasn't subject to change, claiming the contract, while having to respect commercial in-confidence arrangements because of the nature of the contract and the fact that it's a competitive business, is a fixed price contract.
The government hasn't been upfront with Tasmanians about this project from day one. They haven't been upfront about cost blowouts.
New Transport Minister Erica Betts said it was common sense and commercial reality to vary the fixed price contract, also claiming it's still fixed price despite the price change. Following reports Jackie Lambie network members are threatening to pull their budget supply. Labor's also claiming the government's in hot water.
It seems like every day the Jackie Lambie network is undermining its own agreement with the Liberals.
They committed to passing the budget unamended. So these questions are for JLN.
The Jackie Lambie network were contacted for comment. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
The fallout has continued day on from revelations a disgraced former police officer groomed and abused Tasmanian children for 3 decades. Beefing up the Integrity Commission was deemed a critical tool to stop another predator, yet the state government has so far refused to commit to action.
With a day to digest the extent of grooming and abuse by a disgraced police officer, the Premier has a message for those affected.
We're with you. We are deeply, deeply sorry for your lived experience by an evil person for over 3 decades.
But there's still unanswered questions stemming from the report.
Why was that 2008 report and investigation dropped? Why in 2018, after Reynolds killed himself, was the investigation completely dropped?
Regina Weiss says stronger Integrity Commission powers would have been invaluable in detecting Reynolds' conduct, noting they fall short of other states. She's recommended sweeping reforms, including recognising it as a law enforcement agency and allowing it to intercept telecommunications, giving it the ability to conduct hearings, access police investigation databases, and possess coercive examination powers.
The government's had recommendations about this on the books for years now and haven't implemented them. Jeremy Rockcliffe needs to decide whether he's serious about integrity.
Tasmania Police supports all of the report's recommendations, but the Police Minister is non-committal.
The government will be considering those recommendations, working closely with the Police Commissioner.
That's a poor and insulting to Reynolds victims and community members and members of Tasmania Police who have been traumatised by this.
And with the minority parliament showing it can pass bills, the Greens say if the government won't bring the changes, they will. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Authorities say a house fire in Hobart's northern suburbs was deliberately lit. Fire crews were called to the house in Tolosa Street in Glenorchy just before 4:30 a.m. to find the property fully alight. The damage bill is expected to reach $500,000. No injuries have been reported, and anyone with information is being urged to contact police. There have been further delays in the criminal hearing for the jumping castle operators at the centre of the Hillcrest tragedy. Reporter Mark Zeta was in court for today's developments.
The two-week hearing against jumping castle operator Tasmania was expected to get underway in September. However, today, new dates in November were set aside. 6 children died when the castle and inflatable balls they were on were lifted into the air by a gust of wind during an end-of-year celebration in 2021. Tazorb is facing 1 count of failing to comply with Health and Safety Duty Category 2. Owner Rosemary Gamble has previously pleaded not guilty. A forensic examination of the jumping castle was the focus of today's hearing at the Devonport Magistrates Court, which heard there were some administrative delays in securing the castle for evidence. Lawyers for the Crown claiming a coronial investigation also wanted to inspect the apparatus and had concerns about keeping the integrity of the evidence. The court heard all involved parties were able to come to an agreement as to when the jumping castle will be reinflated and forensically examined, scheduled for the week of the 19th of August, pending approval by the coroner on July 24 at a non-disclosed location away from the public, with complete forensic reports now expected by September. The case will be mentioned again in October, with hopes the hearing will begin the following month.
Let's turn to breaking news, and 2 men from Launceston have died after a 2-vehicle crash on the Murchison Highway at Guildford this afternoon. The female driver of the other car was taken to the Northwest Regional Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Crash investigators remain at the scene. The Nurses Union has accused the state government of failing to listen to staff about the impact of planned vacancy control committees. Secretary Emily Shepherd says it's already resulting in cuts to frontline services, citing positions being left vacant.
We're already seeing cuts to frontline services. As far as we're concerned, not putting a nurse unit manager position into the Royal Hobart Safe Staffing Unit to manage safe staffing across the Royal Hobart Hospital is a cut to frontline workers.
The general feeling is that we're not valued because we're not given the resources, and quite frankly we're all feeling exploited in our positions.
The Health Department was contacted for comment. Our tourism industry is raring to savour the winter school holiday period, officially starting tomorrow. But with a drop in visitation and accommodation vacancies, there are fears operators will continue to suffer the chilly effects.
Tassie on the cusp of a school holiday boom.
Passenger numbers through the airport are actually growing year on year, which is fantastic news for us here at the airport, but also the economy of Tasmania. So we're seeing a lot of inbound passengers because of the off-season campaign.
56,000 passengers set to pass through Launceston Airport over the 2-week period. That number more than double for Hobart, while Melbourne continues to lead as the destination of choice.
Look, we've come off the back of a couple of really strong winters recently, so we don't expect this winter necessarily to perform as well as others.
The tourism industry hoping Tasmanians choosing to explore their own backyard will help compensate for the quieter winter.
There's certainly some struggles going on, especially in the regions, and we would definitely encourage Tasmanians to get out and about in the school holidays and visit the regions. There's some great things on.
But new data has raised concerns. Just 63.9% of rooms filled statewide during May, marginally less than the year before. The Tasmanian Hospitality Association says encouraging events like Dark Mofo is key.
We've got to continue to look at and get out early on, is it going to be back next year in full swing, all the other opportunities, and we've got to start dealing with next winter now. And we've got to continue to look at, I think, events and major events.
In the meantime, traders hope a selection of festivals is enough to draw tourists and locals out.
Look, there's a lot on offer at the moment, so we've got Festival of Voices in at the moment, and then coming into August we'll have Beaker Street, Hadley's Art Prize, the Antarctic Festival.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
The artwork of primary school students will take centre stage at Launceston's QV Mag to celebrate NAIDOC Week. The theme this year is Keeping the Fire Burning.
The works that you can see here in the space of the art gallery are curated by Aboriginal children.
We need to let our children know, and the rest of our community, that Aboriginal culture is a living culture.
The exhibition is on display until October 20. Devonport's community sports groups are set for a major boost thanks to the first down payment of $25 million by the state government towards upgrading the sporting and events precinct.
The sport of basketball has obviously grown dramatically in the last few years, and understanding that the biggest challenge we face is we don't have places to play, and especially for juniors and athletes coming through.
It will be fantastic to have a home stadium for us to all meet at, for our juniors to get to know our seniors.
It's hoped the works will also enable the city to host more carnivals and tournaments. $700,000 is being offered to Tasmanian community organisations. Hobart Council offering up portions for creative festivals, sustainability projects, even Christmas carols. Organisers of Hot August Jazz already receiving $10,000, helping North Hobart come alive with the sound of music.
Because it's free to get in, there are no tickets, so we don't do a count, but I'm telling you the place is just a wash of people in and out of all the different venues.
It's absolutely vital that we actually make important the social and economic benefits of our city, and one of those ways that we can do that is by providing grants.
$5,000 to $20,000 grants are available and applications close mid-August. Well, after being targeted by heartless thieves earlier this week, Variety, the children's charity, has something to smile about with the return of its monster book fair this weekend. The event hoping to raise $20,000 to support Tasmanian children in need.
After cleaning and sorting, we end up with roughly about 25 to 30,000 books. So this weekend we'll have a lot of gyms to go through.
Book lovers will also be able to fuel their bargain hunting with a coffee van and sausage sizzle. The event kicks off at 9 a.m. tomorrow and Sunday at Hobart's Princess Wharf. The Port Arthur Historic Site is hoping to attract more ghost hunters this winter. Its family-friendly ghost tour, Shades of Port Arthur, is on until the end of August, appealing to those who may be scared of the dark.
Since 1830, it stood housing some of the worst convicts. It's believed some made it out, thousands did not, with many souls still stalking the ruins.
The stories I have read happen in that dusk where buildings are closing, we're going home, so I guess it's time for them to come out.
Nearly 200 years later, tourists and even ghost hunters are visiting the Port Arthur Historic Site to catch whispers of the condemned.
As you know, ghosts are here all the time.
Port Arthur's penal past and ghostly ruins might seem grim for young visitors, but their latest off-season and daytime tour hopefully a little less spine-tingling.
It does take that pressure off of being scared on a ghost tour. I try to make them a little bit light-hearted.
With eyes and ears open, the guided walking tour spans 2 kilometres around the historic site, walking through buildings and ruins as strange stories unfold.
We head along the waterfront, we make our way over to the guard tower, into the commandant's house, across to the hospital, and then we finish in the penitentiary.
The tour started last month and will continue every Saturday until the end of August, with guides already saying early reviews are promising. Rebecca Gadineris at 7, Tasmania News.
A photo taken on an iPhone has secured a Tasmanian photographer first place in the Paint the Town Red competition. The winning work capturing something thousands of people walk past at Winterfeast.
I stood outside and I realised there's something going on underneath these pillars that were ejecting fire, and then as soon as I started to seeing the rings, I just started shooting madly.
Every single year they come up with a different angle. The creativity in the photography community in Tasmania is absolutely incredible.
Photos of Callington Mill and Cascade Brewery were among the 18 finalists selected this year from 430 entries. The cold snap across a large part of Tasmania just keeps on giving, with the mercury not surpassing 0 degrees until after 11 o'clock this morning in Launceston. With freezing temperatures expected again tonight, Tasmania Police is issuing a warning for drivers to look out for black ice on the roads and to drive to the conditions. Kaya will have all the latest details in her weather forecast, and that's after sport.
To local footy, and speculation about the future plans of TSL heavyweights is over. Launceston and North Launceston will play in the NTFA Premier League in 2025. The association confirmed today the current clubs have approved the move to take place when the TSL folds at the end of this year. Still riding their championship high, the dream run continues for two Jack Jumpers stars, making the Boomers Olympic squad. Will Magnay and Jack McVeigh will suit up for Australia in Paris. The final squad, with 8 NBA stars, announced in coming days after last night's warm-up win over China. Paddy Mills and Joe Ingles are headed to their 5th games, tying with the great Andrew Gaze. The Aussies are aiming to repeat or better their bronze medal result from Tokyo. Coming off a 7-3 thrashing last week, Kimbra Lions are looking to rebound in the NPL. A win against Devonport would put them back within touching distance of the top 3, but it will be a tough test against the league's benchmark side.
I think that's why we play, is to have a challenge and see how we can perform and overcome that challenge.
We can guarantee that it won't be a similar scoreline to last week. Every team, if they're on the back of a drubbing or a hiding, will immediately have a reaction.
Around the league, ladder leaders South Hobart travel to Riverside and 3rd place Glenorchy hosts Zebras. And one of Tasmania's up-and-coming cricket players has been invited to the men's under-19 national camp in Brisbane.
I'm really excited. Meet a few new people and get around some CA coaches and staff. It'll be really good fun.
Meanwhile, Natalie Sharloff will be part of the selection panel to pick players for the under-19 female squad.
I think it's just a good opportunity to get involved in the Cricket Australia setup and see how they do things through that lens.
She'll also fly to Queensland to prepare for next year's World Cup in Malaysia.
Good evening. Hobart 13 today, just 9 the top for Launceston, Devonport and Burnie both 10. The high 13 on Flinders Island, Friendly Beaches and Marai Island, 12 for St Helens, Grove and Ooze. King Island, Smithton and Strawn 11, low head at 9. Lyweni warm to 7 degrees with a low of minus 12.6 this morning. Now in comparison, Mawson Station in Antarctica was not quite a degree cooler at the same time. We also saw another record broken this morning, this time for Sheffield reporting an all-time low of minus 3.9. Today we saw low clouds surrounding Tasmania, extending over parts of the west and south. That onshore flow continues to push low-level cloud over the southern and eastern coastline of the mainland and western Tasmania. Tomorrow, an exceptionally high pressure centre will approach the west coast and move over the state. Southwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots about the east and south, with southwesterly swells increasing up to 4 metres. A road weather alert is still in place for the majority of the state as icy conditions continue. Tomorrow, Hobart, partly cloudy 12, also cloudy for Maydena 10, a morning frost for Oatlands 9 degrees there. Frosty conditions again for the north, 12 for Launceston and Devonport, 7 expected for Lyweni. Fine in Burnie and Marrawar 12, cloudy in Strawn 11. Sunny skies for St Helens and Swansea 13, partly cloudy in Orford, 12's the maximum. Sunday, fine at first with widespread morning frost and patchy fog. Afternoon showers will develop about the northwest. Monday, frost continue, followed by showers about the north and the east. Tuesday, showers developing statewide, but more likely in the east. Saturday's forecast now for mainland capital cities. Canberra expecting another frost 13, developing showers in Brisbane 21, fine and sunny in the city of Churches 17, and just 12 degrees and partly cloudy conditions for Melbourne. Right now, 7 degrees in Hobart, 3 degrees in Launceston and 4 in Devonport. If you add them all up, Kim, it's still less than 20.
And that is all we have time for tonight. Stay safe and stay warm, everyone. Good night.